live and it is $1 Million Wednesday. Kim and my favorite day of the week. Kim, what's going on today?
Hey, Greg.
I'm happy to be chatting with you. I know today's session is going to be a good one. We get tons and tons of questions about product launches and how to do it properly. And for the next hour, Kim and I are going to tell you exactly how to successfully launch a product on Amazon and the exact strategy that we'll be doing to launch Kim's product, the Jungle Slumber sleeping bags. Kim, if they're not familiar with the $1 Million case study, by now they're crazy because this is session 15, but tell us about it real quick.
Awesome. Yep. So each week we are documenting at the moment my progress with finding and launching a product on Amazon. I'm going to be selling it in the UK. We're on a huge mission to raise $1 million worth of revenue, and we're giving all of the proceeds, all of the profits to Pencils of Promise.
And you guys get to follow along with every single last step so you can hopefully replicate our success in your own businesses. And with that being said, it's time to get started. So we'll be able to show you guys exactly how to launch these products. Session number 15 of the European edition. Of course, if you guys have been following along, you also know we launched 2 products in the US before this particular product. But by the end of this episode, like I said, you will know the exact launch strategies that you need to successfully launch a product on Amazon, more specifically in Amazon EU. So, Kim, give us a quick Jungle Slumber update.
Sure. Okay. So now the photography sample is on its way. I think it should arrive this week with the photographer. And I've sent a full brief to the photographer as well for product and lifestyle images. I've also asked for them to sort of prioritize the product images and send those through first, so that we have some images to work with whilst they work in the background on the lifestyle shots. So we've also had a quote for air freighting some of the inventory. So we ordered 1,500 units, and there's now 300 units which are ready to be shipped by air to get to the warehouse slightly sooner, and the rest is going to be going on the ocean. So yeah, and aside from that, I've been working on sort of keyword research and getting the content ready for the Amazon listing so that that's all good to go, ready for the launch, which we're going to cover today.
And we will, building these businesses isn't always super easy without hiccups. When we were setting up Kim's Amazon EU account, they've asked for a number of documents for kind of like proof of like the business ownership and all this kind of stuff. I've heard before from other people that this is kind of like a new thing on Amazon. We should have allowed more time to set up this account. So it doesn't look like it's going to slow us down, but it could slow us down about a week or so. We'll see. But the story there is go ahead and get your Amazon account set up as soon as you're thinking about it. And don't wait to the last minute to, get it set up to get your FNSKUs out of there. But that's all right. Like I said, every little business and stuff has these little hiccups or little things that can slow you down, or it can be frustrating at times. But we're going to be talking about a 3-step launch process. Okay. So today in this session, we're going to be talking about how to get immediate sales, increasing your sales velocity, getting organic reviews, and overall about developing your brand strategy. And the reason for this is if you do not do any type of launch for your product on Amazon, your product's essentially lost on page like 100, okay? Like you could go to the Amazon UK, you could search for sleeping bags, but when our first product gets there, before we launch it, it's gonna be in the deep dark holes of Amazon, and no customers are actually gonna be able to find it. That's why the launch process is extremely important. And we're going to be covering that today in this session. We're also going to be turning on PPC. That's another way that we're going to use to increase our sales velocity or get more sales, especially in those early days when they're really important. And we're going to be talking about that a little bit more next week. Kim, talk to us a little bit about our primary goal.
Okay, so we want to boost something called page rank. So as you know, we've already created our Amazon listing because we're a private label seller. You have to create your own listing, optimize it, and put all your own information on there. And that listing has something called PageRank. So that basically means that the higher your page rank, the better you're going to rank in the Amazon search results. So that means increased organic traffic. So more people are going to find your product in the search results, which means you'll get a higher conversion rate and also more sales. Of course, if you've got a great listing and a great product, which you will have if you've been following along. So this is a really important part. And because this product is new, you kind of have to start from the bottom and build that page rank.
Yeah, and I guess at the end of the day, this is what we're all after. We're after organically ranking well for keywords so we can get that free traffic from Amazon, and like the free sales and customers for years and years to come. So in order to rank well on Amazon, Amazon doesn't share the exact formula that they use to figure out how these products, rank, or just, similar to Google or whatever else. But I'm very confident that the factors that are the most important to Amazon is the sales velocity. So it's like how quickly this item's selling, the sales history. So this is kind of like your sales over time, the conversion rate of your particular product, and then things that go into the conversion rate or things that affect the conversion rate are things like reviews, your images, your price, all those types of things. So all those types of things would affect your conversion rate. So for us, when our product's brand new, we're going to have 0 sales, therefore 0 sales velocity. We have 0 sales history. We don't have a conversion rate yet because no one's ever purchased your product. So that's why it's very important to do like what we're talking about here, to launch a product on Amazon, or like launch this in a certain way that will increase your initial sales. So to do that, those are the things we're going to be talking about today, but we're going to be talking about using promotions. So that means giving coupons to customers and letting them purchase our product with a coupon. In order to increase the number of reviews we get, we're going to send a follow-up email to all of our buyers, whether they use a coupon or not, asking them if they could leave a review. And we're also going to be using PPC, which we'll be talking a little bit more about next week. So talk to us about some of the different methods we could use, Kim.
Okay, so you see there's 5 different ways, and we're going to go into much more detail on each of them soon. First one being using a deal site, such as JumpSend. So you can run promotions for your product. Obviously, that helps to get the sales velocity up because you're offering the product at a cheaper price. You can also use Amazon PPC, and you can use those 2 in conjunction with each other as well. You could build an audience. So this would generally be quite time consuming and possibly expensive, but you could build an audience of people interested in your product niche. And then once you've got that audience, you can reach out to them with emails, promotions and things like that. You could use an existing audience if you already have one, if you have a list of people who you know are interested in your product niche. And also you could use paid traffic outside of the Amazon platform. So things like Facebook ads and things like that.
Cool. And let's talk about all of these a little bit more. We put together kind of like this comparison table here because I think it's kind of important to understand that different methods are better in different scenarios. So we've kind of rated each one on how much effort's required, how much, or like what the difficulty is, maybe more specifically like technical difficulty, and how much it costs. So using a deal site like JumpSend, for full disclosure, that is like one of our products. We're going to try to compare it here kind of as even as possible, but that is one of our products and it is a paid product. We'll talk a little bit more about it today. We want to be fully transparent with it. The effort required to get people to purchase your product through a deal site like JumpSend is very minimal. It takes about 2 minutes to set up a deal. On a site like JumpSend, there's over 100,000 shoppers on this site. So they're browsing this site every day looking for coupons. So the effort and the difficulty is very easy. And the cost, we put kind of like $2 signs there. The cost for JumpSend is very inexpensive. You get started for 29 bucks. But there is, so that's not so much the cost, but since you are giving away these products with a coupon, there is a little bit of cost associated with that. So in comparison, Amazon PPC, the effort and the difficulty is a little bit higher. It takes a little bit longer to set up Amazon PPC ads, kind of fine tune them. It's not too difficult, but it does require maybe a little bit of technical experience. And for the cost there, we put $3 signs. Outside paid traffic's an option that I oftentimes hear people talk about. And what we're talking about there is like buying paid traffic through Google AdWords or through Facebook ads or wherever else you choose to do so. I'd say that's the most amount of effort to set those ads up, to optimize those ads. And most people watching this, or a lot of people watching this, aren't familiar with the Facebook ad platform or the Google ad platform to kind of make it effective for them. You do have to be pretty good at running effective paid ads to do so cost effectively. So there we put $4 signs. Launching to an existing audience, this is a great option if you have an existing audience. So for example, if Kim was already an influencer in the camping space, like she had a blog and she loves camping, she's always talking about it, and she had this email list there, then I would very much encourage her to launch to that existing audience. So if you have an existing audience and they would be interested in your product, then by all means, I would encourage you to launch to them, because it doesn't require much effort. If you already have the audience, it's easy, and it's very cost effective because you don't even have to buy anything. And since they probably already know, like, and trust you, you probably don't have to give as big as discounts there either, because they might not necessarily be like bargain hunters, but more so people who generally like camping, and you built this really nice sleeping bag. Lastly, we'll talk about building an email list. This is, it's nice to have an email list like the one we were just talking about, but if you're doing so just to launch your product, in my opinion, it requires quite a bit of effort. The difficulty is probably the highest because you need to build a landing page or a WordPress site or whatever else. And then, you need to set up with an email provider. You need to get traffic to your site, provide them some kind of opt-in so that they purchase this product. And at the end of the day, I think this is actually would be the most costly one because all those steps required, and you still need to get traffic to your site. Kim, is there anything else you want to throw in about the comparison?
No, I think that was all very concise. And yeah, I think with the PPC as well, if you don't have any experience at all outside paid traffic, it's probably going to be one of the most difficult things to do. Personally, I do have some experience of that, but I still probably wouldn't use it to drive traffic from my Jungle Slumber product. I'm still going to rely on Amazon PPC instead. So.
Yeah. And the other reason is because, like Amazon PPC is also, it's just less, what we found is less expensive. We had at Jungle Scout, we have an in-house guy who's very good at running paid ads. And we still weren't able to get it lower than about like $2 or $3 for people to get one of our coupons. So then, we're paying $2 or $3 per person to get our coupon. Not all of them were even using the coupon. So now you're talking about it costs like $5 to get someone to use your coupon. At that point, it's just much cheaper using something like a deal site or kind of like one of the other methods. So I want you guys all to understand, this is very important, that during the launch process, we will be losing money, okay? We have to spend money to launch our product. During this process, we will be losing money. That doesn't necessarily mean we'll have like negative cash flow, but our unit economics will be bad, right? Like, maybe we're purchasing one of these products for $5, we're selling it for whatever, 30, but with our discount, and once you include Amazon fees and everything else, on a per unit basis, we plan on losing money for the first, 50 or 100 units or whatever it takes in order to get those initial sales, build up the sales velocity, hopefully get a few reviews, all these types of things. So you need to go in this with the understanding that it costs money to launch these products. You will lose money up front on these, but what we're building here is a listing that's going to make us money for years to come. So we're okay with these upfront costs. You can think of as like a marketing investment. Kim, talk to us a little bit more about the kind of the pros and the cons of using a deal site.
Sure. Okay. So the pros are that, as Greg said, it's very easy to set up. It only takes a few minutes. So that's a huge bonus compared to some of the other examples, which take hours, weeks to build an email list, for example. And you don't need any technical experience either. So you don't need to build a website. You don't need to figure out hosting or email providers or anything like that. It's very easy to use, and you don't need any technical experience whatsoever. And I guess the biggest benefit is that the sales are guaranteed. So when you use a deals website that has a large network of shoppers who are ready to buy, they're there looking for deals on Amazon. They know what they're in for. So you kind of got guaranteed sales that, you can get those sales coming in your first few days of launching the product.
Just a little caveat there. Sometimes I hear people say, like, I put my deal up for 10% off and no one purchased it. It's like, well, we'll talk about this a little bit more, but these are bargain hunters. They want like good deals, not 10% off. So you can think of the sales being guaranteed, but you do have to offer a very enticing deal, which we'll talk a little bit more later.
Yeah, you can't just offer like 5 cents off.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I guess that actually leads into the only con on this list is that you do need to give away the product at a very deep discount. So like Greg said, you'll lose money on those first items that you sell, those first units that you sell. You need to be prepared for that. And the cost, I'm sure Greg will talk about this in more detail later, but for JumpSend, it's $29 a month. And then obviously the cost of your discounted products on that, however many you decide to discount. So at least the cost is fixed per month, and it's not going to be as costly as running ads on Facebook like that.
Yeah. So if we talk about Amazon PPC as a launch tactic, the pros of it, relatively easy to set up. All you have to do is kind of bid on keywords. We'll talk about this a little bit more next week, and we've done some past sessions on PPC. As PPC is concerned, so that's pay-per-click traffic, the Amazon platform is very easy to use compared to others. So, and this is something that you're going to want to set up anyway. You get real keyword data, which is very valuable. And again, we'll talk about that a little bit more next week. But the downside to Amazon PPC is generally there's not quite enough traffic there, what we found, to drive enough sales for the launch process. Maybe there is if it's like a really high demand niche and you're willing to really spend a lot of money on PPC. But oftentimes we found it's, at that point you maybe have to spend so much on PPC that's actually cheaper to launch by giving away coupons. So yeah, the cost is going to vary greatly depending on the niche and how good your listing is and a whole bunch of other factors. So yeah, it's something to kind of keep in mind. Talk to us about the outside paid traffic, Kim.
Okay, so the pros are, if you can get this to work and it's profitable, then you could continue to run this post-launch and it can continue to drive sales for you. There are some rumors that Amazon will give you a boost in rank, I think. Is that correct, Greg, for driving traffic from, but I don't know. I think that might be a myth.
Yeah, I think it's a rumor is a good way to put it. I don't personally believe it, but no one knows for sure. And there are people in the industry who do believe that. So.
Yeah, I mean, sure, if you get it to work, you probably will see a benefit on your bestsellers rank because you're selling more products. But outside of that, I'm not sure.
Right.
That's true. The cons are that most sellers can't do this profitably, and it's a very steep learning curve, especially if you've never done anything like this before. And there's no conversion tracking, so it's very difficult to even figure out, how much you're spending to generate a sale, which is a huge deal. And like Greg's already said, we've had experienced people run ads for Amazon products, and even then, it's not proven to be cost efficient. I think that might even depend on not necessarily your skill as in terms of PPC, but also the product that you're selling, the niche that you're in. There's lots of other factors there too. And the cost, it varies greatly, as does all PPC. But it's only really advised unless you're already sort of an expert in that field.
Yeah, I agree. If you are very good at like running Facebook ads or very good at running Google AdWords, feel free to give this a try. You know, of course, like you're already very familiar with it, so it wouldn't be too easy to do. But I wouldn't, if you were someone who has never run cost-effective paid ads before, I think you're wasting your time and your money by trying to go down this route. So only people I'd recommend this for is, like we said, the people who are already kind of like very good at these ads. I will say we put no conversion tracking on here. There are some hacky ways to try to track conversions. Like one is sending it through an Amazon affiliate link. That is, we put no conversion tracking on here because that is against our terms of service for like the affiliate program. So we didn't want to encourage anyone to do that. There's this other one kind of hacky way that I think is pretty unreliable. So more or less, there's no conversion tracking unless you're really, you know, willing to kind of break the rules and kind of like hack the system. The existing audience, kind of, we spoke about this before when we saw like the big matrix, but if you have an existing audience, this is a fabulous way to launch your product. It's inexpensive to do so because all you have to do is send out an email to your audience. The downside is, 95% of you guys watching, listening to this right now, you don't have an existing audience in your niche right now. And as we'll kind of talk about on the next slide, I personally don't really think it's worth investing a lot of time or effort up front to try to build this audience if you don't already have so. So the cost is, free, or if you give out coupons, maybe the cost is a little bit if you have an existing audience, but of course, like we said, a lot of people don't, which brings us to the last one, which I'll let Kim talk about, building your own audience.
Yeah, so the pros of this are that it becomes your own list. It's your own marketing asset, so you can use it and do what you wish with it. And for other launches as well, particularly if you're going to launch a range of products in a similar sort of niche, in which case, you might want to give this a go. The cons are that it's difficult to do and it's costly. It takes quite a lot of time. Also technical abilities. So you're probably going to need to create a website, set up some sort of email marketing, and figure out technical things like that. So it's kind of costly in both your time and your money as well, because all of these things are money. But it's definitely, I have seen and heard of sellers doing this to effect by, running competitions and generating a list that way, by, doing a giveaway of a bunch of products in a niche. And it's definitely possible. It just takes a lot of.
Right. So to recap real quick, you can kind of see our comparison matrix here again. And again, this is just, we kind of rated each of these things on our thoughts on them based off effort, difficulty, and cost. Hopefully, now that we've kind of given you an overview of the different ways to do this, probably a few of these are ringing a bell. You're thinking right now, like, oh, like I'm awesome at Facebook ads, so I'm going to try to use that. Or the deal site's obviously a very cost-effective way to launch to the audience, and it's very, easy to do so. Or maybe you've already started building your own niche site or whatever else, and you have a little bit of audience, so you'll launch to them. The other thing that I'll say is keep in mind the big picture here. The big picture here is we need initial sales on this product to get sales velocity for our Jungle Slumber sleeping bag. So you can do all 5 of these methods at the same time. You don't have to just choose one. Us personally, we're going to be using JumpSend, the deal site, and Amazon PPC because we don't have any existing audience. I don't think it's a good use of our time and money to build the audience. And the same's kind of true with Facebook ads. In our experience, it's too costly to do so. So we won't be doing that either. So we'll be using the first 2 columns to launch our product, the deal site and Amazon PPC, which I got ahead of myself as describing this slide here. So how do we get reviews? Like, let's say a year and a half ago now, or whenever that was, we could exchange discounts for reviews. That's no longer allowed. When Amazon first changed those rules, all sellers thought the sky was falling. You would never be able to sell on Amazon again. But it's actually not that big of a deal. There's still ways for you to get reviews. So What you're not allowed to do, and I would strongly encourage everyone watching this to follow all of Amazon's rules, which we'll be doing as well. Do not offer any type of compensation for a review. This is something that Amazon takes very seriously, and they will enforce, and they're a lot smarter than you think, okay? So do not exchange any type of compensation. So you cannot give someone a coupon code in exchange for a discount. You can't offer to reimburse them through PayPal for a discount. You cannot offer to cut their grass in exchange for a review. I mean, whatever else, you get the idea. You cannot offer them any kind of compensation to get them to leave a review, okay? What is allowed is we are allowed to, well, I think there's kind of like two things that are allowed. We can put an insert or print on our packaging and ask that, or, of course, like totally organic reviews, of course, are allowed. The two things that we're allowed to do to kind of like increase the chances of getting reviews is we can send follow-up emails to our customers, and we can nicely ask them or remind them to give them a review, so that we give them a link to make it very easy for them, and we're asking them nicely. So hopefully this increases our chances of getting reviews. And it does. It's proven to increase it very much so. For some products, even 5 or 10 times as many reviews. So we can do so by sending them the email or putting an insert in our packaging or on our packaging. Okay. We'll be using JumpSend to send the follow-up emails, because it does this as well for that same price of $29 a month. Of course, if there's some other program that you love to use and you don't want to use JumpSend, feel free to do so. But the big picture here is that we want to be sending those reminder emails because it is very easy to do. It only takes a few minutes to set up. And once it's set up, it automatically sends to all your customers. Like, you set it up one day, you set it and forget it, and it will greatly increase the number of reviews that you get. Anything I'm forgetting right now, Kim?
No, I think that covers it with emails. We've got a few more slides coming up on like do's and don'ts of what you can put in those emails. But yeah, I think in a nutshell, it's a really efficient use of your time as well, because once you set it up, you can leave that running. Obviously, you can improve it and tweak it as time goes on, but it's very cost efficient and it's very easy to set. So it's kind of a no-brainer.
I agree. So I'm gonna let you guys watch over my shoulder as I create one of these, but we've taken a few screenshots here just to get you an idea. So this is an automated system. Once you get it set up, you select a trigger. So for example, like when they purchase the product, send them this email. After the product ships or arrives at their house 3 days later, send them this email. And we'll show you there's all kinds of cool things, like you can automatically fill in their name or give them a link to track it, or a bunch of other like really cool things like that. So we're going to go over some of the best practices for sending follow-up emails to the customers. And Kim, why don't you start us off with the do's?
Cool. So I think this is key, actually. A lot of people try and pack too much into these emails. So it's a really good idea to allow every single email to have one single. This is like a commonly taught practice in marketing in general with your messaging. So we generally advise that you send no more than 3 emails per customer, and each one of those emails should have a specific goal. The next thing is that you can add value with things like product tips, tutorials, best practice, ebooks, infographics, anything that's going to help them understand the product better and get best use out of it. And then finally, provide excellent customer support. So you can also, in JumpSend, you can send out emails when refunds are initiated too, which is really great for actually preventing negative reviews, as well as platform to generate positive reviews. And generally, you just want to let people know that you're there, that they don't just have to sort of shout into a review on Amazon. If they've got a problem, they can actually contact you, and that you've got customer support and you're willing to help.
Cool. What we don't want to do, Amazon does make it clear to us what things are allowed in these emails, what types of things are not allowed. Some of the things that are not allowed is you cannot include a link to any other website in these emails, okay? And Amazon, Amazon strips it out, so you might as well not even try. Like, they're smart enough to know that any of these emails, so the emails are sent through the Amazon messaging system, so they can see any email you send to those customers, and they automatically will strip out the reviews. So you can't say like, oh, hey, also visit jungleslumber.com and try to purchase some other stuff. That's not allowed. You don't want to send too many emails to your customers, right? You don't want to start spamming them. 2 to 3 is plenty. Would encourage you guys probably not to send more than 3. And if you have a lot of images in your email, it's more likely it's not going to make it to the end user's inbox. So we'd encourage you guys, I would say maximum 1 image per email. So this is an example of an email sequence. So, and a lot of these are pre-built into JumpSend. But some of the things you can do, one could, as soon as a product's been shipped, you kind of follow up on it. You say, you're trying to say like, okay, like I'm here for you. If there's anything wrong, let me know. You could also at that point include ebooks or assembly instructions or anything else. And then generally we'll do 2 different asks for review. So the first one is 1 or 2 days after it's delivered. They just got this product. Hopefully they're still very excited about it and willing to review it. If they don't review it, then we can send them another email after a week or 10 days or so, saying like, hey, just a friendly reminder, let me know if you need any help with anything else. And again, if you leave a review, it'd be greatly appreciated. We've done a lot of testing through JumpSend about reviews and looking to see, what are ways that you can increase the amount of reviews that you get, okay? This is, as you guys could imagine, reviews are very valuable on Amazon. Having a lot of reviews will increase your conversion rate. It gives that social proof that the customers are looking for them to know like, okay, this is a good product. People value reviews and social proof very high. So through JumpSend, you can automatically include a image like the one you see on the screen here. And as you can see, like it has the little 5 star, like it looks like kind of like empty stars there. And these are very similar to what customers are used to seeing on Amazon's website. And through our testing, by implementing this, we actually increased the conversion rate by almost 2x. So before that, the typical, click-through rate, not conversion rate. The typical click-through rate was about 2.2%. So for every 100 of these that we sent out, only 2 people would actually click on it. By using an image like this, the click-through rate actually increased to 3.7%. So almost 4 people out of every 100 would then click on this image, and then they're 1 step closer to leaving a review. So we'd encourage you guys to use something like this. And like I said, this is built right into JumpSend, so you don't have to try to make that yourself or whatever else. Yeah, talk to us a little bit about the promotions inside JumpSend, Kim.
Cool. Yep. So, like we said, it's very easy to set these up, and there's lots of documentation in JumpSend that can walk you through the thing as well if you do get stuck. And you can offer your discounts, and then shoppers will then be able to see the offer and request a coupon. And there's also inventory protection in there so that you can make sure that no one shopper wipes out your whole inventory, which is obviously going to be a huge problem for any seller. So we've added that in there too. Really useful. And then once it's set up, you can see how many coupons have been requested and how many. And it's a really powerful tool for launching. Quite often as well, sellers will use this for example, if you've run out of inventory and your ranks sellers can also use promotions then as well to do almost like a relaunch of the product. So, you don't just have to use the promotions feature during a product launch. You can use it at any time. there anything I forgot there, Greg?
Yeah, that is a good point, actually. Like, if there is just a time of year that your sales are a little bit slower, or for whatever reason you just need to increase your sales velocity, even not during the launch time, JumpSend's a really good platform then as well. And you don't have to offer as deep of a discount there, to get the extra sales that you're looking for then as well. So, with that being said, let me show you guys exactly what JumpSend looks like. We'll start on the deals page. So this deals page right here, this is actually what a buyer or a shopper would see kind of like on their end. And as you can see here, I mean, you guys can go and check this out. You can sign up for a free shopper account. Feel free to ask for these coupons. But like I said, we have over 100,000 shoppers. They're going to this deals site every day, and they're looking for bargains. These are bargain shopper people. They like getting good deals. So they're going to this site every day, and they're saying like, oh, cool, I want one of these inflatable loungers. They're offering coupons for 85% off right now. So they'll click this, they'll hit this button to request this item. And then what happens is this seller can decide how many coupons they want to give away each day. So you can either automatically approve shoppers or you can manually do so. And this gives you the control to kind of like drip feed as many coupons as you want on any particular day. So yeah, if you're watching this and you don't even ever want to use JumpSend, you just want to get a whole bunch of really discounted products, feel free to go here and sign up for a free shoppers account. But that's how the deal site works, okay? So as far as setting up a promotion goes, it's very easy. I go in here, I click create a new promotion. I'll click which item I want to set up a promotion on. Let's use one of the Jungle Scout t-shirts just as an example here. As you can see, it's very easy to do this. I'm going to select my category just real quickly, which would be clothing. It's fulfillment by Amazon. I'd put it in my support email. Click next. The inventory is the inventory protection is very important. Like we said, it's built right into JumpSend. Let me zoom in a little bit more and make sure you guys can see this okay. I would strongly encourage you guys to click the yes here, okay, and turn this on. What this does is this limits the number of orders or number of units that any shopper can purchase while the promotion is running. So Amazon actually doesn't give you any way when you give out coupons to limit a person to only purchasing one unit with a coupon. You're allowed to make one-time use coupons, which means that those coupons work one time, but they don't have any way to limit someone from purchasing 10 units versus 1 units that one time that they use that coupon, okay? There's no way, at least in their coupon system. JumpSend has a way around that, and that is we can limit the order quantity for your products. The caveat there is this applies to anyone whether they're using a coupon or not. However, there's essentially no better way to do it on Amazon. So while we're running this promotion, I would encourage you guys to limit, probably to 1 unit, but maybe 1, 2, 3, something like that. And then JumpSend will automatically put this into effect while your promotion's running, okay? So we'll go to the next step here. This shows you exactly how to get your coupon codes. We can set our discount. Let's say our discount is 80%. Oops. You can just set that right there. You would copy and paste your single-use coupon codes in there. Click on next step. You can either manually approve everyone who asks, or you could automatically. So I could say JumpSend automatically approve the first 10 shoppers each day, or I could say, no, I want to go into my account and approve them. Next step, all we're doing is verifying all this here, and all you have to do is click publish. So as you can see there, within, how long did that take me? 1 minute, we can set one of these deals live on JumpSend. And then if you went to this deals page, you would see your deal here. And at that point, now it's in front of over 100,000 shoppers. And if anyone decides they want your product, then like we said, they would request that coupon from you. And then whether you selected manual or automatic, you would then, those shoppers would then be approved. At that point, they get one of your coupons, okay? So very easy to do. I would, like we spoke about earlier, The shoppers on this platform, though, these are bargain hunters. They want deep discounts. So, for example, with Kim's product, the sleeping bags, at least during the launch process, when we're trying to get lots and lots of shoppers to request ours, we'll probably offer it for like 75% off. Okay, so at that rate, we will be losing money on each one purchase. However, like we talked about earlier, this is part of the launch process. We understand that we have to lose a little bit of money up front as a marketing expense to build this listing that's going to make us money for years to come. Okay, so that's how easy it is to set up a promotion. As far as setting up the email campaigns, again, this is very easy to do. So I'm going to go into campaigns. I'm going to click on create new. We have some templates right here, or you can build a custom one. Let's just try this last one here. I would select which product I want to run this for. Let's see here. I'm going to select this one right here. I'm going to go to the next step. There are already some, like I said, since we chose a template, there are already some emails here. But let me just walk you guys through how this visual builder works. This is pretty cool. You can see each node here is a essentially an action, okay? So this is saying when the product's shipped, wait 0 days, that means immediately, and then send the email requesting feedback. If I want to see what that email looks like, I can click on that particular node, and this is the email that's going to be sent. Like we talked about earlier, there are autofill tags. So right here where there's like the 2 curly brackets and it says product name, that's going to be filled with the actual product name of your product. Same thing right here, the curly brackets say hi, buyer first name, that's going to be filled with their first name. This is the text of it right here. I would need to fill in my name and the brand name, and then after that, it's all set. You can add an attachment using this button right here in the bottom left. You can send a test email to yourself. You can preview it. All those types of things right there. So yeah, as you can see, after it's been delivered, we're going to wait 1 day and then request a review. We then wait 6 more days. We're following the chain of events down here, and then they send one more one more email. And yeah, that's it. If you wanted to remove some of these, you can click this little X button that shows up when you hover over a node and close it. And if I want to add a new event, a new type of email, over here on the right-hand side where it says new trigger, it's very easy to do. All I have to do is click that button, and I can select what I want the trigger to be. So this could be when an item's purchased, then do this, or when an item's refunded, then do this. So like Kim talked about earlier, you can send emails to buyers, like after a product's been refunded. Maybe at that point you're asking like, what could we do better? Why'd you want a refund? All those types of things. So I can click on that, and then I could say, okay, send this ASAP, or send this after, let's say after 2 days. And then I'm going to send them an email. So I could, I'd fill out the kind of like the builder here. I'll get that email all set up, and that's just about all it takes. So within 5 minutes, I think I could have all of these, or I could have this set up and highly customized for our particular product. All I do then is I just click this publish button in the bottom right-hand side, and these emails are always going to automatically be sent to your buyers. So after you set this up, this is going to work, forever. It's like set it and forget it. We don't actually have to send all these emails manually to all these people, right? It's going to automatically do the work, and these emails are going to get sent to your shoppers, or to your buyers, whether or not they purchased with a coupon or not. So we want to maximize the amount of reviews that we get, obviously. So we want to send these review requests to every single person who purchases our product. It doesn't matter whether they purchase it with a coupon or not, or during a lightning deal or whatever else. We want to send this to all of our all of our buyers, so we can ask everyone to leave a review. So yeah, that's about all there is to it for JumpSend. Like we said, you can get started for only $29 a month for up to 3 products. You can run as many deals as you want. You can send as many emails as you want. We're going to be using this. We're going to set up our email campaigns right away. For the first week or two, we're going to be running deals through the promotion feature inside JumpSend, and then we're going to leave it on for months and years to come to send out those emails to all of our shoppers, buyers, hopefully getting more reviews. What did I forget in there, Kim?
I don't think you forgot anything in there.
Cool.
I guess I have one question. So we're going to send emails to everyone, regardless of whether they bought it at a discount or not. So if they then go ahead and leave a review, am I right in thinking that's still fine because you haven't required that they have to leave that review? They've, it's still organic. They've still chosen to do it. It's not a requirement in return for the coupon that they use.
Yes, that's exactly right. So what is not allowed is exchanging a coupon for review. So I can't say I'm only giving you this 60% off coupon in exchange for review. That is not allowed, right? If I'm giving away coupons to everybody with no strings attached, or whoever requests one or whoever I choose or whatever else, that's fine. And then they get put in the same email sequence that everyone else gets. So it doesn't matter whether they use a coupon or they purchase through a lightning deal or Amazon PPC or any other way, right? They can purchase this whatever way they want. Everyone gets the same email requesting that they leave a review. And I'm in no way, though, exchanging any type of incentive for the review. Just everyone's being asked for a review.
The way I see it, Greg, is that as a seller, I've kind of got to really instill like the value of the product in the customer's mind, and then say to them, would you mind leaving a review? And then hope that all of the efforts that I've put in so far makes at least some of them go, do you know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna leave a review. And it's totally in their hands, but I'm still doing all the right things to kind of make them want to leave that review.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good point. Excellent. So I'm going to switch back over to our slides. All right. Kim, why don't you give us the summary? I've been chatting a lot here.
Okay, so as we said at the beginning, it's a sort of a 3-stage approach to the launch. So the first thing is we're going to run those deals. I'm going to use JumpSend to do that. And that's going to be probably for the first 2 to 3 weeks. I'm guessing this would vary depending on, what discount you're offering, what your product is, lots of things. But the good thing is, you can start and stop those promotions whenever you please. It's in your control. So, once it's done the job, you can end those promotions. The automated email campaigns, so they're going to be set up ahead of time. So they'll be going out from the first sale of the sleeping bags that goes out. Those customers will receive the automated emails. And then the third part is setting up some Amazon PPC campaigns to run alongside this in those first few weeks and beyond. But we will cover that next week. And finally, my other point is don't forget that your listing does need to be optimized too. It's not going to rank well if you've not optimized it, you've not included all the relevant keywords, not got good images and all the rest of it. So if you did miss, I think it was session 8, make sure you go back and check that out, and also launch with a very well optimized and well written product listing too, because that's still very important.
Thank you very much for that. Since you're the teacher, why don't you go ahead and give them their homework?
Okay, so you've probably guessed by now, but your homework for this week is to get everything set for your launch strategy. So whether you're going to do the exact same thing that I'm doing, or whether you're going to use some or all of the other methods that we discussed earlier, it's entirely up to you, whatever you feel the most comfortable with and what you think works for you. But you really need to sort of nail that down once your inventory is on the way, because it'll be happening in a few short weeks. Also, if you do run promotions, which I would advise you do regardless, decide on what discount you're going to run and set those up. And then also you can start writing out your emails if you want to do your own personalized ones, or you could use some of the templates that Greg showed us in JumpSend. And in this week's sheet, I've just put some of the information that we've shared today, just so that you've got something to go back on and compare all the different sort of launch tactics and decide what's best for you.
Cool. Let's do a few questions real quick from the audience. One question that we have, I guess, is how much of a discount do I need to give? And then there's another one that's been asked a couple times that says, like, how many units would I give away during a promotion? Okay, so as far as the percent discount, like we mentioned a couple times earlier, like on JumpSend or on any deal site, these are like bargain hunters. Like most of the people on there probably don't really need a sleeping bag, but they're like, well, for 75% off, I'd be willing to purchase a sleeping bag, or for 60% off, I'd be willing to purchase a sleeping bag. So unfortunately, I don't have an exact number for you here, because it also depends on kind of like the perceived value of a product. So like if you're doing iPhone cases, the perceived value there is pretty low. So you're going to need to probably offer like 95% off. If you're doing like a sleeping bag or whatever else, right? Like larger things that have a higher perceived value generally cost more money. People are willing to purchase those at a little bit of a lower discount. So for our sleeping bags, we'll probably start at like 75 or 80% off. And what you can do is you can always start somewhere, so let's start at 75% off and only 10 people request a coupon and we're trying to give out 50 coupons. Then we could increase it to like 80% or 90%. Or even we could even do the opposite way. If we start at like 80% off and we had like 500 coupon requests, then maybe we give out like 10 of those coupons, but then we posted a new promotion the next day at only like 70% off, okay? So those are all things to keep in mind. As far as the number of units that we're gonna give away, one way you can think about it is how many units per day are some of my competitors selling? And what would it take for me to meet that sales velocity? So if our competitor is selling like 10 units a day, then we probably want to be thinking about giving away like 5 or 10 coupons a day to try to get essentially the same sales velocity as what they do. What's going to start to happen is, maybe the first few days, the only sales that you get are going to be from coupons. But then maybe on that 4th day, 5th day, 6th day, whatever, at that point, you start getting some organic sales too. So maybe day 4, we get 5 organic sales and 5 coupon sales. Then hopefully the next day, we get 6 or 7 organic sales and only 3 or 4 coupon sales or whatever. And then we'll slowly start to taper those off. We'll also start getting sales through PPC. So it kind of depends. I know you guys don't like the it depends answer, but it kind of depends on your particular product. And with some products, I might have to give away coupons for 2, 3, 4 weeks. Other products, after the first like 5 days, they start selling well organically. And then at that point, I start giving away coupons. I only give away as many coupons as I need to, because at the end of the day, I want the full price sales. I don't want these discounted sales. We want to, get obviously as much money as we can from it. So hopefully that makes sense. Another question is, when do you start PPC? That's a good question. If you're being super aggressive, you could start your PPC from day 1, okay? That being said, your listing's gonna convert better after you get some reviews. And on that day 1, you're not gonna have any reviews yet. So we're gonna try to be pretty aggressive with our launch because we're doing this case study. We want to see some action. So we'll probably start PPC either day 1 or at least like that first week. However, if you choose to do so, you could wait till you get a few reviews because your PPC will start converting better at that point. Let's see if there's any other questions from our audience that we get all kinds of questions, guys, from you that pertain to all different types of stuff. However, I'm going to try to kind of stay on topic for like the launch strategy, since some of these aren't kind of relevant for today's session. So, is JumpSend available in the UK? That's a good point. We didn't even talk about that. Our developers are doing the final testing right now for UK for it to work in the UK. So any day now, I'd say the next few days, at least the next week, it will be available and working in the UK. So we will be using JumpSend obviously to launch the sleeping bags, and yeah, it's going to be available in the UK. By the time our product arrives at the Amazon warehouse, it'll be working and compatible with that. Like I said, they're just doing the final testing now, just to make sure there's no bugs or any problems or anything when we release it. Yeah, so that being said, we're just about at an hour here, Kim. I think we'll go ahead and wrap it up. Thank you very much for joining me. I've enjoyed chatting with you guys. Hopefully you guys are following along, and hopefully you want to join us next week. I'd encourage you to sign up at junglescout.com/million so you're notified of all of the upcoming episodes. If you haven't already done so, please smash that like or love button. Hit subscribe if you're on YouTube. And Kim, I will see you next week. We're making great progress here. I'm excited.
Yep, can't wait. PPC, see you there.
Woohoo! All right, see ya. Bye.
Bye.